Hello and welcome to everyone who is showing up early to our webinar. We really appreciate it. Thank you for being on time. We are going to start at about 1 or 2 minutes past the hour. Definitely letting some people kind of trickle in here as they may be coming from other webinars because there are a ton of them these days, as we all know. But I'll keep you updated and we'll get started shortly.
Like, what happened to starting 2 minutes early? Always. Nick is not responding, guys, because we did not rehearse for this.
I got a construction joke for you, though.
Oh my God. I hope I won't do to this one what I did to your last joke in the last one.
Like you did last time. So, how do construction workers party?
Constructing.
They raise the roof.
That's a good one. I understand it at least. I like it.
Yeah, you didn't force me to repeat myself this time, which is really good. All right, looks like we got more people joining right now. For those of you joining right now, thank you again for showing up early and on time. Really appreciate it. We are giving 1 or 2 more minutes for other people to join, and then we'll start this off. We got a lot of information to cover today, so we're not gonna delay too much here. All right, Taib, I got one more joke for you.
Go ahead, sir. I am actually easing into your jokes now. So.
Why did the construction worker dip his finger in blue ink?
They wanted to lower the basement.
To get a blueprint.
Oh, yeah, they can store it in BOLDBuild once they have it.
All right. Looks like we got a bunch of people here. And I think we should just kick this thing off so we can get through everything today. All right. So again, thank you and welcome to everybody and thank you for taking some time to join us for our webinar on BOLDBuild 2.2. It's a comprehensive solution for buyout pre-construction and construction phases within the construction industry. Today we're going to be jumping into mainly the pre-construction app, and it'll be a deep dive demo. But first, what I'd like to do is introduce myself. My name is Nick. I am a sales executive here at AlphaBold, and I am joined by Taib Ali, who is our VP of Consulting, and he's kind of the driving force behind BOLDBuild. He saw some gaps in the industry while working with several different construction companies, and this BOLDBuild was born. We also have Mahmoud Tanash, our principal consultant here, and he is the main man behind the scenes bringing BOLDBuild to life. So he's going to be here in case any questions get a little bit too technical for either myself or Taib to answer. Before we jump into the meat of this, I'd like to put out a poll for everybody here just to kind of get a feel for where you guys are coming from and what you're currently using. So let's launch this first one. And it is, what tools are you currently using for managing your AEC processes? We do have Procore up there, an 8, BIM 360, Microsoft Dynamics 365, or are you just not using any of those? All right, so we'll let that go for a little bit, a couple more seconds here. Looks like we do have a couple people using Dynamics, a couple people using Procore. Quite a few of you are not using any of these that are listed. It's good to know. So I'm going to close this poll up. Thank you guys very much for your responses. I do have another poll here, and that is, what is the #1 workflow that you'd like to improve? Is it the buyout phase, pre-construction, RFI and submittals, construction phase, or reporting and analytics? And I'm wondering if you can choose multiple. Oh, you can only select one. Okay. It would have been nice if, I'm sure some people have multiple areas they'd like to improve upon. Okay. So it looks like pre-construction and construction are the big hitters here for most of you out there. We'll close this guy up here, and we got one more poll. Thank you for your patience here. All right, so how many different systems does your team need to execute on projects? All right, we got quite a few people who are using 4+. Hopefully we can fix that for you guys today. All right, so yeah, it looks like 4+ is the winner for this one. Well, I'm glad you guys are stopping by because we can show you we can minimize that, bring it all into one. So I'm going to close this up. Thank you guys for your responses, really appreciate it. And we will jump right into this presentation and move quickly through these slides so we can get into the demo. So yeah, for today, what we're going to be doing is going over some industry challenges real quick and taking a look at how BOLDBuild can solve those challenges. And then we're going to dive into what BOLDBuild actually is and some of the benefits you could see from using it. And then that's when we're just going to go into the demo so you guys can see what it looks like in there. And then after that, we'll open it up for some Q&A. And if you do have any questions throughout this presentation, please feel free to put them in the questions box. I'm going to be monitoring them and trying to answer them. And then also just we'll stop for a couple times throughout this to answer them out loud so everybody can get their answers done. So let's go to this next slide. All right, so right off the bat, I want to touch on a costly issue in the construction industry, and that is missed schedules. It costs the industry $165 billion, and that is 17% of the total spending in the construction industry, which is huge. So with BOLDBuild, what you'll be able to do is manage your team's time more effectively and make appropriate changes when necessary, hopefully reducing those missed schedules. Another struggle on this next slide that you'll see is RFIs. As you can see here, it takes almost 10 days to get your RFIs back on average, and each RFI, just based purely on administrative and technical review costs, a little over $1,000. And then the final statistics on here is something I am sure everyone has dealt with, and that is getting responses. 22% of RFIs don't get a response. Shortly, we'll show you that you can send, receive, and manage all your RFIs in BOLDBuild, and this will increase your response rates and cut down on those administrative costs associated with RFIs, and that ultimately will save you money. Let's take a look at some other places where delays are happening. First off, you'll see document management is a big contributor. 50% of contractors fail to capture and review data consistently, which leads to 35% of their time hunting down project information. Not only that, but 30% of the data during the design and construction phases is lost by project closeout. With BOLDBuild, you'll see that all your information is in one place and stays with the project from start to finish. The next little tab there is project tracking, and it is a big common issue in that only 42% of project managers update schedules daily or weekly. And of that 42%, only 20% of that update their schedules within 1 to 2 days of becoming aware of a change. Without real-time notifications and data, projects can easily become severely delayed, and different teams can get stalled out at various phases. And again, that contributes to that $165 billion just left out there. With BOLDBuild, we'll increase the visibility of your project status, making the day-to-day updates easy. Collaboration is another area for improvement. You see that 82% of owners feel they need more collaboration with their contractors. With BOLDBuild, you can set reminders to contact people and send emails and documents right from the app. We've also added a vendor portal, allowing your vendors to submit information quickly and securely. Also, BOLDBuild is mobile friendly, keeping your team in the know wherever they are. In regards to change orders, only 36% of them are actually collected and documented. A big cause for these change orders comes from poor project data and miscommunication. Without real-time tracking of change orders, it's easy to lose track of your budget versus actuals. As you'll see, BOLDBuild allows you to easily track change orders against original budgets and make necessary adjustments to keep your projects on track. And then finally, Labor productivity, 73% contractors report medium or high impact of productivity of workers due to double entry of data. BOLDBuild keeps all the data in one place and, as I will show you, tracks the data with the project from start to finish. No chances for double entry, therefore eliminating chances for errors and time wasted. Surveys have found that the #1 reason for reduced productivity is a lack of communication and collaboration between project teams. This is something BOLDBuild again can easily step in and solve as it integrates with all departments in one source. All right, so let's just get into the meat of it, and Tab's going to take it from here. But again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to enter them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them. All right, Tab, take it away.
Thank you so much, Nick. I want to highlight first of all that BOLDBuild is a solution for AEC. Obviously, there's a lot that these industries have taken from construction, it being the most mature of all of these. So that's why we focus a lot on pre-construction, construction, and closeout phases. But BOLDBuild applies to any of these industries. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to drill deeper a little bit into pain points that Nick touched upon, like lack of productivity and collaboration. And I'm going to try to quantify that for you. So I'm going to start with the pain points on the buyout phase. You can see on this slide that based on so many systems that are out there, there's 14% distraction, which is causing a lot of performance and productivity reduction for the sales workers that are out there. It's primarily because 60% of them have too many tools, 50% the workers don't know what's expected of them, 64% of their time is spent on non-selling activities. If they're not selling, I don't know what they're doing, but it is not essentially the selling aspect of it. Taking it further across the different phases that we have from pre-construction, construction, here is a nice slide that tells you about non-optimal tasks. So for example, you can see here that 16.2% of the time is spent on conflict resolution, wasted, 15.2% in dealing with mistakes and rework. Now rework here can be qualified both ways, rework in terms of just managing the project rework, as well as actually going on site and having to redo the work because we got some specifications wrong. It includes both, primarily going back in there and redoing something because it wasn't done right. And then 14% is spent on just looking for project information. So because like you guys mentioned in the poll as well, 4, 5, 6, 7 applications storing all this data, obviously it's just very difficult to find it when needed. Just to quantify it a bit more, so it meant 35% is wasted in non-optimal activities. But what does it mean in terms of the hours? So you can see here that it means 5.5 hours per week looking for project data. When you look at it from the perspective of, okay, I'm looking for project data, it doesn't come out like that. So we have this slide just to explain the effect of this. 4.7 hours on conflict resolution and 3.9 dealing with mistakes. And I know some of you are only driven by dollar amount. So here we have another slide for you, which tries to relate that time wasted into dollars and the annual cost impact. So you can see for some of the roles like project manager, pre-construction managers, hours wasted weekly, almost 13 to 14 hours. And then that quantifies into almost $50,000 or up to $50,000. And the idea with BOLDBuild is that we want to fix this and we want to build a system that is simple to use, just like we have in other industries. We want it to enable digital transformation for the AEC industry. And we want it to be one connected system. And that's what we'll be focusing on in this webinar today. So as we go into BOLDBuild, these are the 5 kind of business segments that BOLDBuild covers. So it has an analytics layer. It has the sales, which starts from the buyout phase and goes a little bit into pre-construction. For some of the organizations that we work with, it has an extensive field operations piece. It has project management going from pre-construction, construction, closeout, all the way. And then it has accounting that we kind of do not have the accounting modules built in BOLDBuild, but we integrate with different systems. So we integrate with smaller systems like QuickBooks, Foundations, GP, Business Center. We also integrate with enterprise level accounting systems like SAP and JD Edwards and FN, Dynamics 365, FNO and stuff. So if you look at it from the functional standpoint, you can see that sales would map to opportunity management. So we have extensive marketing, converting into leads, going into opportunities. So you could do the whole buyout process management. Then it goes into project management, where you would go into your pre-construction, job management, project management. You have your field folks who could then put in their time, and it's all one connected system. So everything is real time. So as soon as your people put in their time, you can see it reflected on the job. So you don't have to wait till 2 weeks from when the daily came in, or 1 week, so that you could see as a project manager if you've gone over budget or not. We have vendor management, we have change order management, we have a huge analytics layer. And then again, like I shared with you, we have accounting through integration. So why would you like to move to BOLDBuild? Obviously, we'll be covering a lot of that throughout the demonstration, but the core piece that we are focused on is productivity. How can we help increase productivity for all the personas across all of these phases within the AEC industry? So for example, what we would need on the sales side would be different from what we would need on the estimation and what the BDMs and for pre-construction and assistant project managers, and then the field folks like superintendents and field admins and foremen and journeymen. We kind of just personalized it for them, so they see what they need and they could focus on what's important for them. There's a ton of automation. We'll be covering that as well in terms of reducing double entries, being able to do that stuff quickly. And the idea is that we could give you what you need to do your job in terms of your job function. In terms of the core benefits, again, in terms of qualifying it or quantifying it rather, you can save up to 2.5 million per year just in time savings. It can eliminate 48% of your rework. It gives executive level oversight to all the executives, and they don't have to go into the system. We have a huge reporting layer that does that. And our biggest strive and effort has been to make one integrated, connected system, so you have one single source of truth. And with that, I'm going to go into the demonstration straight away. Today, we are only going to be focusing on pre-construction. So there's a lot that I covered. We talked about the buyout, we talked about construction, talked about field operation. We will not be covering that. So what we will be doing is we will be going into just the project management and the pre-construction phase and having a kind of a deep dive in there, so you could see the benefits of the system that we have. So in here, as I log into my BOLDBuild platform, you can see that I have multiple apps. Here I have a way to choose between these apps. So for example, I can choose my field admin app, my foreman app, my project management app, or my sales app. I can use any of these apps that I want to use. And then we have this dashboard layer. So for example, if I show you the dashboard, so as I click on the dashboard, it just opens up my dashboard for me. And holistically across all the different phases, buyout, pre-construction, construction, you have this reporting that is available. You can look at things by job, hours by job, by phase, which means by site, by trade. You can go in here, you can look at the dailies that are coming in. You can just quickly go in and you can filter on the job that you are interested in. So for example, I just select this. Now it's only showing me all the hours for this one. I can filter further down, and so it could just show me internal hours, don't show me change order hours. I click on that and it just changes everything based on that. And then I can go in and I can also look at apprentice versus journeyman and the trades and all that stuff. There are lots of other reports that we have. We have reports for submittal logs, RFI logs. We have a subcontractor performance report, but again, that's not the focus of the webinar today. So I'm going to go back in here into the pre-construction. On the left, you see a very clean navigation, and we can use this to access different sections, and we will be focusing on pre-construction here. And if I want to open up a record, the best way is I can pin it, so I don't have to remember where to go. So navigation is very, very easy. You just click on the pin record and it opens up that record for you. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go into pre-construction just to show you and open up the project that we will be using for this demonstration, which is the UCSD, because we're based in San Diego, and it's bright and sunny outside. Joking. But this is the project UCSD building extension that we'll be using for this demonstration. So I'm going to just hide away this navigation on the left. and I'm going to walk you through. So first of all, I'm going to give you just a little bit of the lay of the land as to how the forms are structured. And then we're going to go into this process that you have up there on the top. So here you can see I already have pre-created this project. The project name is UCSD Building Extension. It has a pre-construction number. I'm in the pre-construction phase right now. Bidding to an end user is both UCSD because we're doing this project for them. I have my primary contact who is my owner, which is Christian Bale. And I have some additional information about what kind of a building or square footage information, prevailing wages information, project class, so it's an educational facility, it's time and material, bonds, all that information I have in there. I have geographical information, whether I need solar for the carport or not. So I have all that listed kind of in here. Then on the right side here, I can organize teams within this BOLDBuild platform that we have. So for example, here's my team that would be working on this project. So I have Nick as my project manager. I have Megan as my assistant project manager. I have Jed, who you would never put in as your safety manager. I did for this demo. Then we have Mahmoud, who is a VP of operations, and Ryan, who is our superintendent, just for the sake of this demo. And then I also have the owner team. So I have my architect, who's Samuel Jackson and Christian Dale. And then here I have a pre-configured template of tasks. Now this template, as well as all these roles, they're very easy for you to set. So for example, you can pre-create these templates in our system. So whenever you create a new one, it will automatically give you these roles. And all you're doing is you're going in here and you're setting the person you want to show up here. Or you're setting in here and setting the site. So for example, I can go in and say, I want to put in Juliet field, and if you can see its new interface, it kind of is nice and easy to use. You come in on the owner team, you can set up your owner team, you have architects and owners. And in here, we have these tasks. Usually we do not have these dates. I had to set them up for this webinar, but you can set these up based on the things that you would be doing. So we have these just dummy templatized, okay, you will be going in, you will be preparing the site, preparing site mobilization. So all those details are kind of listed in here. Then we have this detail section. And in this detail section, what I've done is I have a service type, which is structural. Just because I'm doing a building extension, so I picked up structural. You can go in and you can pick up any service type. So in your business, if you do electrical, if you do solar, if you do all the other types of services, we can just have them created and you can put them in. There are many reasons why you would like to put them in. First and foremost, we have templatized the scope of works and the inclusions and exclusions as well. So as soon as you put in your type of service, it automatically brings in that, okay, this is the scope of work. And I'll show you that all of this information would show up in the proposals as you generate them. If I have anything specific to this project, I can just add it in there. Same is the case with my inclusions and exclusions. I can get these inclusions and exclusions, and as you see, they are for specific structural service type. So I put them in and I can just edit them if I need to edit them. And here I have all of my sites. I can upload my sites if I'm talking about, say, a 100-site project. But in this case, I have the Juliet Field building complex that I'm doing extension for. And then I have Backman Carport that I am probably putting a solar panel on. So I put these two in here as well. And then I have estimation. And as we go to the creation of the bid, I'll come back to this. But I want to show you what else we have as part of this. So in here, you have procurement and negotiation, which comes into play when we are trying to finalize who would be our different suppliers and vendors and subcontractors. So I'll come to that as part of this process. We have this nice scheduler. So what we have in here is I can go in and all the tasks that you saw, I have them available to me within BOLDBuild in this Gantt chart. I can move things around here. You can see I can open them up. I can complete this task in here. And we have, based on the fact that this industry uses Wrike and Microsoft Project Online, we have integrated this with those platforms. So for example, here, if I go in here, you will see that as soon as I create a pre-construction, it automatically creates a project in here. So you see this is UCSD building extension 31235. As I open this up here, it will show me that these are the 4 tasks I have in here. Now, if you notice, these are the 4 tasks that are coming in, as well as I can have tasks within BOLDBuild as well. So it's up to me as to how I want to handle it, right? And if I create more tasks in here, so for example, let's say I say launch project. in here and I set a certain date and I say I want to say launch it 12th, I can come in here, I can save these tasks in the platform that I have. And once I have saved the tasks, I can just go in here and I can publish this project from within this. So I can save it. Once it is saved, I'll just go in and I'll say I want to. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, I want to publish this project after saving this, and it will be published soon. Once it's published, it's automatically integrated with BOLDBuild. So you click on this button that says sync with project online, and you will see that it will start syncing. It'll take a bit, so we'll come back to this, but you will see that the project launch task will start showing up in here. And we have this 3D modeler. So any documents that you have, any 3D models you have, anything you have on those lines, you can just put those in there in your system as well. And then you can use those models to kind of view things with your team in terms of how the building looks. You can have any type of a model that can be rendered within the system for you. This project modeling can take some time because we're talking about the 3D model. So what I did was I already have a working copy of this that I want to show you. Let's put 1 second here.
And Type, while this is going, can the sync be automated to occur
Absolutely.
every hour or something?
Absolutely. So the sync can be automated. It can also be manual, like I did. I clicked on this sync project. I'll let it render, and I'll come back to this in a second. Let me just go in and refresh this and open this one again for now. And opening it up in a separate window, so I'm not just waiting on this. Then what we have is we have a ton of collaboration that we have worked on. So we have integration with teams. So as I click on this here, you'll be able to see that I already have a team that I have linked to this pre-construction phase. So if I open up that team for you, you will see that the same view I have within BOLDBuild, now I have inside my teams window. So you see in here, this is that UCSD building extension project. I have everything in here, all the details. And now I'm within the team, so I can go in and I can start talking to people about it. I can get more real estate if I want. It's just like I am in the BOLDBuild platform. I can start posting stuff. So all of my team members that you saw, like Nick was the project manager, Megan was an assistant, they're all added to this. So I can start sharing shop drawings, plan documents, files, wiki. Everything is in here and everybody has access to that. So it's just one system which has everything connected. So if you do something in here, it automatically reflects in my BOLDBuild platform over here. So we have that. And we also have Office 365 groups, which if you have used this, it's amazing because it allows you to have shared calendars with your team. It allows you to be able to manage things and keep them organized. So I'm going to just let this one load a little bit and then open up this shared calendar view for you. So this is my calendar view. You can see it looks just like Outlook. And in this calendar view, I have this task, which is internal meeting to review drawings, which I have set up with my team. I have a group here that I can show you. So if I go to my mails.
These integrations are huge right now, especially with COVID and everyone having to work remote. It just makes collaboration that much easier.
Absolutely. So if I go to my UCSD building extension, this is my building extension Office 365 group. All my emails that are in context of this pre-construction phase can show up in here. Everything that I have in context of that can show up in here as well. So it's just makes it easy for me to be able to manage that. So here are 2 emails I have. If I click on this calendar view, you'll get to the calendar that I was showing you. What I want to do next is I want to show you the meat of documents, which is the biggest pain for all of you because you have documents stored in 5 different locations and you make 5 different copies of those. Here is my document library, and I have multiple document locations in here. So I can go in and I can click on my first document location. You see I have this pre-filtered list of all the documents that I have in the system. What this does for me is it allows me to just keep things organized. So the 3D models that I'll be showing you as I go in here, you will see that they are kind of already uploaded into my SharePoint here. So I have this office building that I wanted to show you, and hopefully I'll be able to get to that as that renders. It's as I get to that. Then you have administration, you have your plans. You can just upload all of your plans in here. I pre-uploaded these for you because I'll be using all of these for different processes. You have RFIs, you can put in your request for proposal in here. All of your documents stay in one place. As you move from pre-construction to construction and different other stages, they're still in there in one place. So you don't have to worry about getting access to these by going into 5 different locations. So that's kind of just to give you the lay of the land a little bit. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go in and I will be walking you through this flow. So in the first phase, what I'll do is I'll just go to the next stage, because what I want to be able to do is I want to create my preliminary estimates here. So I want to go into the details section and I want to upload a bid. I go in, I select the site, which is going to be Elliott Field for now. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to upload an Excel file that I already have, which my estimators created with all the estimates. So we have this tool which we have built, which is an Excel reader. Any type of estimation you're doing in Excel, you'll be able to ingest that in BOLDBuild. It has my materials here as well, glass, cement, concrete. Now, if you do not want to use Excel and you've been using tools like BuilderTrend or ProEst or any other tool for your estimation, you can either integrate with that tool, that's number one, or we have a module that allows you to do your estimation within BOLDBuild. So it's up to you. But here is a little bit of a magic. So once you upload it, it just starts reading in from that. And it is going to bring in all the bid and the bid details. So for example, it will bring in the revenue. You can see it has brought in 775K almost in revenue, the cost, margin. It takes a little bit of time because it is reading through all of that. But then it brings in all of the details from there. It calculates the margin and also brings in the detail section of it. So if I go in, it's telling me my total labor cost, total material, total equipment. And this is hugely valuable because all of this automatically gets converted into a budget as soon as you go from pre-construction to construction and you create your contract. Now, if I come back to my pre-construction phase, I will just come in here and I'm going to refresh these numbers because I want my bid to be reflected in here. By default, it just automatically refreshes, but I want to obviously show it to you in this webinar right now. So you can see that now I have my customer price, my cost, and you will see that in this section here, now I'll start seeing my margins as well. So you can see I have a 50K of margin. And with that, because I'm in the negotiation phase, what I want to do is I want to go into my procurement section. It tells me, again, it automatically brings in all these details based on my estimates. It's saying that these are the materials that you need. Now I need to go into the phase where I want to start reaching out to my pre-qualified vendors and I want to get all the bids from them so that I could fine tune these initial estimates that I have. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to use our app. We have a vendor pre-qualification app. So I'm going to just click on that. And what this app does for us is that we have a separate process that I'm not going to cover today, which walks you through as to how you can have vendors which are pre-qualified. But what we're going to do in this one is as this app loads, I'll be able to find all the vendors I have who are pre-qualified for glass, cement, composites, and concrete, the 3 materials I need here. And then once they load, I'll be able to then show you how we can, using this app, quickly select them. So just give it a minute here. It's taking a little bit longer to load today. Really is a bit faster than this, but let's see. All right, awesome. So you can see I'm looking for all the subcontractors, vendors who provide me these services and these materials. I'm not going to worry about these services. I'm going to say, give me everybody who is pre-qualified for glass, cement, composite, and concrete. And it automatically takes it because I'm using it in context of this. I'm going to refresh this. And as I refresh, now it is giving me a list of all of my vendors. I'm going to go in and I'm going to select the ones that I want to use for this webinar. So I want to use Ignora for my glass. I want to be using Aston Villa for cement composite, not because they're amazing at that, but that's the soccer team I support. And then I have here Prestige Concrete. So I'm going to select them. And with that, I'm going to save it. As I save it, it automatically now knows that, okay, these are the ones that I want to reach out to so that they could send me proposals. What it is doing at the back end is, as I say, yes, I want to proceed forward, it's kind of storing all of these and adding them to my in negotiation phase. If I go back in here, as it kind of adds them into my pre-construction phase, let's give it a second. It's pulling in all the information, all the details about them and associating them. And what I want to do next after this is it has been done. I'm going to close it out and I'll go to the negotiation. And you see the 3 that I selected have been pre-added automatically to my pre-construction. Obviously, you guys know the drill. The next thing I want to do is I want to be able to send out to them the request for sending me the proposal. So I'm just going to quickly refresh here, and then I'll click on the button up there, which is to send the request for proposal. As I click on this, it is going to automatically generate a proposal template. And again, anything that I'm going to show you in terms of the documents, know that it's templatizable. Know that if I show it to you in Word, it's just to give you a perspective that we can do it in Word, but we can do everything in PDF as well. And I'll show you some examples of both. So what it is telling me is that request for proposal email has been successfully generated. I'm going to go into the notes section here, and it will take a little bit of time because obviously all of these are async processes. So let's wait a second here before it loads my request for proposal document. I'm going to refresh again to see if it has come in.
Yeah, and this is huge because it really does cut down on a lot of manual entry and double entry and just makes everything so streamlined.
Absolutely. So I'll just let it run, refresh it. And one of the challenges we have is to show all these features in context of the time that we have for the webinar, but let's see when it shows up. Come to that in a second, but what happens here is that essentially it generates an email, which is my request for proposal. And as I have that request for proposal, I'll be able to then send it out, and I want to obviously show it to you as soon as I can get to it. And then I'll be able to have these guys respond back to it. So all these 3, they will have the opportunity to respond back. Now, in addition to this, once they have responded back, what will happen is obviously, let's say if one of them, say Ignora, comes back to us, and the original estimate that I had was around 20,000 for the quantity of glass that I was needing for them. But they come back to me and they say, oh, we are actually going to charge you 30,000. So very easily what we can do is we can go in here and we can change this to 300. This is going to change it to 30,000. I'm going to save this Excel. I'm going to go back into my estimates where I had, and the system is smart enough. When I do a new bid, it will automatically revise the existing one and will put in this one. So if I go in here, I pick up Elliott Brown, I pick up the same Excel, it's going to go through the same process, but this time around you will see that the numbers would change based on what we discussed, and it is going to just showcase the fact that now we have a different margin, 52K. And once we have that, we have done with this back and forth. I will show you how in the pre-construction we can, in a single click, generate a proposal. So we're done here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to say, okay, imagine I got done with this negotiation phase, and I got it from all of these vendors that I have. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just go in, and I will be able to generate a proposal on a single click here. Let me show you that. I'm going to click on this generate proposal button. And what it does, it just takes all the details I have. It takes my inclusion and exclusion. It takes my scope of work. It takes the bids that I have. You see how it says one is closed internally. And it starts generating that automatically on a single click. So you don't have to do it manually anymore. As you probably know that it takes a lot of time to then take all this detail and put it in that proposal. And if I go again to the note section, my expectation is if everything is working as expected, and I guess I have both these things. I have these proposal and this, but let me show you. So this is my proposal that I am sending to the owner. So this is the proposal that just got generated. Let me open it up for you. Again, you can see it's a Word proposal. Like I said, I'll show you examples of PDFs here as well, but you can use anything in here. So if I go in, I have this nicely formatted. It's up to you. You can give us a template, or you can upload a template into BOLDBuild, and it just takes that template. It brings in all the details. So you can see it is bringing in all the details. It is bringing in the price from the bid, it will bring in all the bid details. It will bring in alternate details if I had selected that. It will bring in my scope of work and my inclusion and exclusions from the detail section as well. One email that I was showing you earlier, which I had used for sending proposals out to my vendors, especially Ignora, was this one. You can see I have this email and it tells them that, hey, here is your request for proposal. If I click on this as well, just to show you, this document was sent to, say, all the vendors, and it has all the details about bid timings and when they're supposed to submit it, how they're supposed to submit it, and all of that, right? What's going to happen then is I skipped this piece because it was taking a bit longer to load, but they can also go in and they can send me the bid. And now I can go into the negotiation phase. And I could have gone in and I could have said, okay, Ignora is not going to be that 20,000 that I had estimated, but based on what they have come back with, it's 30,000. And I showed you by updating that in Excel. But I could have also had Ignora log in because they received this email. They could have gone in. They could obviously send us by mail, but they can also easily go in here and provide us quick updates in this. I can say the cost is 30,000. They don't need any license for this. They'll be able to complete, I guess, make it more realistic. Conflict of interest is no, and they're gonna say class specs. So they're going to submit this. And what happens with this is that our systems are integrated again. Again, it's one connected system. So as soon as they send us a proposal for their piece, which was when we were in negotiation right in here, it will automatically log it in as a response. So if I open up Ignora here, you will see in here that I will have a response soon that will say proposal, and that proposal would come in from Ignora. So let's see. And it will automatically bring in the cost of this as well. So as this comes in, I'll be able to focus it to you fully. So go back in here, and then it will also show me in the negotiation phase all of the pricing that is associated with it. So you can see it automatically brought in this address and stuff. So I'll give it a second and let it render, and then I'll come back to this. So now what we want to do is we have finalized our vendor. We have sent the final contract to the owner. And let's say the owner says, okay, everything looks good. What we want to do is we want to go in and we can do the mobilization phase. We can come in here. We can see what needs to be done in here. But what I essentially want to do now is I want to go in and I want to be able to create the contract. So what I will do is I will come in here and I will go to the next page in the create contract. And here we have a whole contract generation module. So I'm going to come in here. I will say I want to generate a contract. We can do LNTP as well if you want. And I also want a project created as part of this. And I'm going to click on this button to create contract. You can see these dots running around. So what it is doing is it is creating a contract that I've just won with this owner, which is Christian Bale in this case, based on if you paid attention to the roles I had. Christian is the owner with UCSD. And a little bit what will happen is that my contract will get created. And as it gets created, I'll be able to show you how that is rendered and how it is working as well. So bear with me here for a second. Nick, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, while we're waiting, we had a question come in, and it's in regards to when you submit the bids to the owner and there's some changes that happen when you submit another bid, is there a way to have it kind of create different versions or highlight the changes or show a previous version?
Absolutely, it logs all of that. So if you saw when I went into detail, as I uploaded a new one on the changes, it did not update the previous one. It automatically, it's smart enough to close it as internal, revised, and it created a new one. And when I send it out, I can have different statuses for each one of these, and it's a configuration where you get to choose what status needs to be communicated over to them. Perfect. So that's kind of how it works.
Great.
So let's go to the contract again. So now my contract has been created. As you can see, it is the contract for UCSD. I will not obviously be going to the contract because then we are going out of the pre-construction phase and going into the construction phase. But I want you to know that now that my contract has been created, I can go and I can select which vendors I want to work with. So I can go into Ignora that I wanted to select as my vendor. And I can come in here and I can say, okay, I want to work with this. I can deactivate them and say, okay, this is the contracted vendor, right? So I'll deactivate it, and then this will create a subcontract for all the vendors. This way we can do it for all the vendors that I have associated with this. Now that we are at the contract stage, we've started having those conversations with all these collaboration tools that I showed you. And what we want to do is we want to go and we want to ask Ignora for the samples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the submittal process. I'm going to go in, I'm going to say new. And as I do this, I'm going to create a new submittal here. So I'm going to say, send me product submittal. I'm just going to copy paste this here. And I'm going to choose attention, which is my owner. So it's going to be Christian Bale. I will select the categories in terms of what information I need from my Ignora Glass vendors. I want them to send me the specifications of the product and send me product data and samples. I select that. I can have, okay, I want the copies of this eventually to be sent to architects and the owners. I can put in description of the submittal. I can add in remarks. I'm going to just say, okay, requested date is today. It is required to be returned by 9th. And I can just save all this detail in here. In the detail section, I can add more things as to what do I want to do with this. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this process forward. And I'll say, okay, I want this to be sent, a submittal request to be sent to my vendor, which is Ignora. So I'm going to pick them up. And with this, I'm going to go into the review stage and I'm going to wait for them to submit the submittal. In order for Ignora to be notified, what I need to do is I need to click this button. So I'm going to click this. And as I do that, what it will start working on is it will generate the, as you can see, it says that it's generating the submittal document. And it is going to make that submittal document available to be sent out. So for example, if I go in here now in the documents, what it will do is it will generate a document in here. So I let it do that. What I want to show you next is I've reached out to Ignora, which is my subcontractor. Like Ignora doesn't have access to this system. So what we have is we have Whitney at Ignora, who is our primary contract. And we have a portal for all the subcontractors, vendors, and all of the outside roles that we want to give access to BOLDBuild. So I'm going to open up that portal here, and I'm going to bring that in. And I want to log in as Whitney from Ignora. So I'm going to sign in. Now I'm in a totally different app, but the two are connected. And I'm going to log in as Whitney. Again, Whitney is the primary contact at Ignora. I'm going to put in my password. I'm going to say sign in. And as I do this, you will see it gives me all the information for Whitney, but I'm going to go into the subcontractor info. And as I going to go into the submittals, I will probably have to refresh this, or if I waited enough. So I can now see that it has the submittal request that I just sent. So you can see in here, this is the submittal request that I had created. And you see how it created this document because it takes a little bit of a time to create it. But now in the portal, when I log in as Whitney, I see that there is a request to submit documents, submit the submittal document, and it is to the owner attention. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to review this. So I go in here and I want to go through the submittal process. I say, okay, this is good. Here is the status. I would just set some of these fields. I'm going to respond to it today. So I'll set that as the date. I'll say, yes, I wanted to go through all these approvals. And I can just say this is product specification. I can add any details, but what I am going to do as Whitney is I'm going to just add my product specification file in here. So I go into my system again, and I'm going to upload product specification. So this is my product data submittal. I add that in, and what it does is that, like I was sharing with you, it just adds them together. Based on the details that I was sharing, that it is going to take this file, my product data submittal, add it in the portal as a subcontractor, but it is going to reflect this in the BOLDBuild system so the general contractor and the owners could see that as well. So I'm going to just say, okay, this is good. Let's submit this. And I'm going to take you back in here into this, and I'm going to refresh this. So you see here that my product data submittal that was submitted by Whitney is now showing up in here. So I can as a general contractor, what I want to do next is I want to just send it to the owner. So I'm going to go next, and I'll just be telling the owner that, hey, I want you to review it. Now, owner may or may not have access to the system as well. So I can also do this that, the owner is Christian. I can log out here now, and I can log in as Christian, and I can review this product specification and approve it. So for example, I go in here, I say, I will sign in, and as I sign in, you see I have owner info now rather than subcontractor info. And here is the pre-construction that we are working on. So I'm going to just open it up. I'm opening it up in the view only mode right now, but you see I have all the details for this. Now, one thing that will come to your mind is I don't want the owners to see all of this. Absolutely fine. We can define, you can see the scope of work, inclusion, exclusion. We see all the documents. You see it, they can see the submittals here. They can go and they can edit this submittal. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to click edit in here. It will open up this submittal. I can see the document that was submitted by Whitney. I can review it. I'm not going to open it again. I'm going to say, okay, this looks good. I'm going to just say owner approve. And I'll say submit. What will happen based on this is within BOLDBuild, we will receive a notification that, okay, this has been approved. So the submittal process is complete. While we are doing all of this, just like you would expect, BOLDBuild is creating and maintaining a log. So if I refresh this again, you see how it says owner approved now. So my submittal process is complete. I started with just creating the submittal, send it to Ignora, got all the feedback, and I kind of am done with that. So I'm going to go back to my pre-construction. And based on the fact that my owner and my architect reviewed this, let's say now what I want to do is they probably want to generate a question looking at the submittals as an RFI. So the next thing I want to show you is the RFI. So I'm going to click on new RFI. And in here, I'm going to say, okay, I want the RFI to validate class specification, because I've seen the sample, I've seen all the detail. I come in here, I say again, this is Ignora that I want to use for this. I want to send it to them as well, not to the owner of the organization. So I come in here, I select Ignora in here, and say, okay, the date is today. It is required again by the 9th. I can do the response date if I want to do, and I'm going to save this. And I go into the details section. I just say that, okay, I just want to validate that this class specification that you have shared with me is valid. So I just put that in as a question. And again, this is where this is a huge functionality. So let me see if I'll be able to showcase it to you now. Like I shared with you before, all the documents are in one place. So everything that came in from my Ignora as a vendor, plus the approval from the owner, plus all of this is kind of going to show up in all the attachments that I have in here as it loads. And once I have that, I can merge these documents to generate an RFI to figure out what actually I want to send over. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, I want to pick up my submittals that were sent by them. So you can see in here, you see how it says product data submittals. These are the submittals that were sent by Ignora. So I have a question on this, and I want to send them again this is what you sent me. I can probably skip this as well. And I want to send them shop drawings. And I want to say, okay, now generate an RFI from this. And I'm just going to click on this button. Let me save it and then say PDF format. Again, like I told you, you can do PDF and Word. What my expectation is that now it is going to generate an RFI request for Whitney. So as Whitney logs in, I'm going to probably log in as Whitney here again. I'm going to log out as my owner, Christian. I'm going to log back in as Whitney. And say, okay. Now I expect that Whitney, like she saw submittals before, she should also see an RFI. Again, might be doing it too fast, and might have to wait, but no, it's here. You can see I have one RFI, and again, it tracks the status. The status is open. I can go in here as Whitney, and I can see all the details. And if I want to respond back to this straight away, I can respond to this as well. So what I want to do is I want to go in here and I want to say, okay, I want to tell them that the glass specification changes would have no impact. So I come in here, I'll be able to see their question, is the existing class specification still valid? I'll say reviewed everything. Still is good, or whatever you can imagine. You're more creative than I am. I'm going to submit this, and as I submit this, you see I have a response being tracked in my portal. And now when I go back into my BOLDBuild system, I'll be able to, again, it can take a little bit of time for these two to integrate, but I have the response here already. So you can see I have the response. So that way I can go back and forth, and I can continue to track my responses. And at any given stage, if I want, I can still go back in and I can open up my documents, and everything that is happening is in my documents. All the collaboration that is happening, all the emails that are being exchanged are in notes, and I'm going to show those to you in just one quick second here. So I go in here, I have now here all of my documents. In my submittals, you will see that I have the documents that are coming in as well from my different vendors. So I have this product specification doc. We are all shared across all the stakeholders. But when I say that, bear in mind that it is being shared because we wanted to share all this. Let's say if you have I don't want to share these documents with everybody, you can absolutely do that. You don't have to worry about that. It's all secure, it's all role-based, so you can change the security model of our platform, and based on that, you can kind of govern and drive what needs to happen there. So it kind of takes care of that for you. And that's kind of what I wanted to cover. Then obviously you are in the contract stage. One thing that I had promised you that I'll show you was the 3D model. So let me try it one more time, see if it loads. Loads in here, perfect. So you can see this is my 3D model, and I have in here the model. I can move it around when it is behaving better. I can look at it from the 3D perspective. I can load it, hide it, all of the details kind of in here as well. So this is kind of what I wanted to cover for today as part of this. And with that, I'm going to go back to the slide deck and hand it over to you, Nick.
Thank you. So this is, just want to remind everybody, this is a way to get everybody to collaborate, not only internally within your business, but externally too. So you're working with not only your internal teams, but your subcontractors, your consultants, you're also working with your owners. It's just a way to get everybody involved and to make the process just go that much quicker. So thank you for everybody for joining. I think we covered most of the questions throughout the presentation. So if there are any leftover questions, please feel free to ask them. Or if you are looking to see kind of the other apps within BOLDBuild, or you want a deeper dive within the pre-construction, please feel free to contact us as well. There's also a free trial available on the App Store for Microsoft. So if you have Dynamics licenses already, you can go there, download it, and it's a 2-week free trial. There is a little bit of a startup involved, so let us know if you do that, because we'll get it all set up for you and make sure it's relevant to your company. And we can walk you through it as well to get you comfortable. If you don't have Dynamics and want to try it still, contact us. We would love to get you set up with a little demo environment and sit down and make sure it's something that fits with your company. Or if you are just ready to buy, we are also open for a call for that too. But yeah, thank you guys very much for tuning into this. On the next slide, Tyab, we have our contact information. I think. Let's see. Yeah, there's our contact information if you did want to talk to us at all. We do have we will be sending out the recordings pretty quick here, and we'll follow up with you guys with answers to any leftover questions. And yeah, we look forward to working with you guys. So stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining.